It was much bigger and way more modern than I imagined. I've been to America and I've been to Los Angeles, I've been to San Francisco, even Vegas and stuff, but come on, like, they have nothing in China. They have nothing in China. Not every region, obviously, but the mega cities and stuff like Guangzhou, Chengdu, Shanghai, Beijing and stuff. Come on, guys. There's no way, like, totally leading in the industry. So, you know, like the old style, in my mind, it was like, okay, I'm gonna come here, it's many people in modern clothes, and maybe I see cars or something. Hey guys, we lost the battle, you know. I'm 100% sure that if everybody could see the way what we can see if we live here, they wouldn't doubt that China is the leading country in the world. For me, the biggest shock was like, it's like I really pretended like it's gonna be a third world country or something, the pagodas, the style, how I'm gonna fit in.
I went back to San Francisco and I looked around and it was like, this feels smaller than a third-tier city in China. San Francisco seemed extremely small. A third-tier city is like 5 to 10 million people here in China. San Francisco's actually only got the population of about 750,000 people. After moving to China for 5 years before I returned to the United States. Back in time, 100 years, I got in a time machine in this Amtrak train, which travels about the speed of a car. I could see cars on the freeway passing us. In China, you obviously have these trains that travel 300 kilometers an hour, faster than that even, and they just get as fast somewhere almost as an airplane. And I was so excited to come back to China because I felt like I was coming back to the normal future where we live here, because a lot of people think of America as one of the most developed places, but in actual fact, China has already passed it up in many respects.
Here, I learned that China stretches far beyond the stereotypes that many people in the rest of the world nurse. When I first came to China, I was clueless about it. Naturally, everything seems new and unfamiliar to me, but the country was far more developed than I had expected. I was shocked that instead of money, people use phones and could get virtually everything that they wanted by just making a few clicks on their mobile devices. Indeed, the technological development that I witnessed was something that I could only have imagined in the books of fiction. I took my first trip on a high-speed train. I tried delicious Chinese cuisine that is different in every province, and I met many people who had their own customs and traditions but who lived in harmony with one another.
China's carrying out the largest reforestation campaign in the world. Just 40 years ago in 1980, China's its forest coverage was 12% of the country, and now it's 24% of the country, which is incredible and unprecedented progress. China's made its historic contribution to reach zero carbon by 2060, to reach peak carbon emissions before 2030. And these are extremely significant commitments. If they achieve them, which history would tend to indicate they will, because the Chinese are in the habit of meeting their commitments and keeping their promises.
China has really created an enormous infrastructure. It started in 2008 with the high-speed trains, and what you could see is that in just 12 years' time, China has built more than 30,000 kilometers in high-speed train, a lot of it 30 meters above ground. I mean, it's an impressive network, but it also made China smaller and more efficient. And then there's the normal railroads. There's 120,000 kilometers in the high-speed or expressways. There's 130,000 kilometers there, with more than 30,000 being built over the past 5 years. I mean, this is like crazy. I mean, if you live in China, you really see the difference. Airports, the most advanced airports, subways. Shanghai has 22 subway lines. I mean, there's no comparison with America. Because in China, there's a Chinese saying that goes, 遥相负，先修路.
Of the 10 busiest ports in the world, how many do you think are in China? Well, let me tell you. 7. How many do you think are in the United States? None. How many do you think are in Europe? None. It's remarkable what is happening here. The mass growth of high-speed rail lines around the country is quite amazing, and there's still a queue of people trying to get on them. There's no empty seats on the trains, such as a demand. There's twice as much high-speed rail track in China already than there is across the whole of Europe. That's quite amazing.
China sees a problem and they fix it. They build a dam. We debate what to rename it. That's why their airports look like this and ours look like this. In In San Francisco, it took 10 years just to get 2 bus lines through environmental review. The Big Dig, a tunnel in Boston, took 16 years. China once put up a 57-story skyscraper in 19 days. They demolished and rebuilt the San Yuan Bridge in Beijing in 43 hours. We binge watch, they binge build. When COVID hit Wuhan, the city built a quarantine center with 4,000 rooms in 10 days, and they barely had to use it because they quickly arrested the spread of the disease. They were back to throwing raves in swimming pools. Well, we were stuck at home surfing the dark web for black market charming.